probably been wondering what's going to happen to Paul as he has been shipwrecked, but Paul arrives in Rome, and we are uh, looking. The first section is section verses 1 and 2. This, our final study in the book of Acts, follows Paul from Melita to Rome. When Paul arrives in Rome, he ministers first to Jews and then Gentiles. The narrative is not included, but breaks off with Paul preaching in Rome. He ministers first to the Jews and then the Gentiles. Uh, the the acts of the Holy Spirit have not been finished even in our day. The book of Acts will end with the rapture. So the landing in Melita, verse 1. And when they were escaped, when they knew that the island was called Melita, this is the island which we know today as Malta. The bay where this took place is known today as St. Paul's Bay. This is a very interesting place to those of us who lived during World War II. That's J. Vernon McGee. I'm reading out of Through the Bible series by J. Vernon McGee. And I want to thank Chad, my son, for volume 4, which is Matthew through Romans, and Acts is in that volume. And I've got 3 sets, and this is the only volume 4 I've got. So, then this island made the headlines at the very beginning of the conflict. It was the most bombed spot of the war because it was in a strategic position. At that time, General Darby was the general and the governor of the island. He was a Christian and a worthy successor to the Apostle Paul. He said that he had no notion of surrendering. I think it is interesting to be reading about Paul landing at this bay and to realize that General Darby had command on that same island. Certainly, in the incident of the shipwreck and the landing of Paul on the island of Melita, we see the providence of God in the life of the Apostle Paul. All of this is recorded for our learning. Verse 2. And the barbarous people showed us no little kindness, for they kindled a fire and received us every one because of the present rain and because of the cold. It may cause us to smile a little that Dr. Luke labels the natives of the island barbarous people. The word barbarian was used to describe one who did not speak Greek. Well, actually, it was the Germans. They went bar. It sounded like that's what they were doing, so they called them barbarians. But anyway, it does not imply tribal savagery. Here we have another instance of the kindness and the courtesy of pagans. Remember that there are 276 people who have landed on this little island. Out of this crowd, many are criminals who are being sent to Rome for punishment. Yet we find this wonderful compassion and helpfulness on the part of the people who are pagans. We find in the book of Jonah another instance of this same thing when the pagan sailors tried to spare Jonah. They didn't want to throw him overboard, even though he had told them they should do it. They tried to bring the ship to land, but found out they couldn't do it. Sometimes pagan folks are more gracious than the folks who are religious or who are in our churches.